Whew. Oh my god. 1.1 million views? 2.4 million views? 3.4 million views? 29,000 views? Actually, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but that's a lot for me. Well, better hop on this trend before it dies out. Now, if you're like me and you have no life and spend every waking minute on YouTube, you're aware of these iceberg videos. Hell, you've probably watched a couple yourself. Whether you put one on during lunch break just because you needed something to watch while you eat, or you simply just threw one on in the background while you worked on something else. Or, the more likely situation is, you watched one at 3 in the morning because you couldn't fall asleep. Which doesn't make any sense, but I'm in the same boat, so I can't complain. And it doesn't matter what you're into, there's seemingly an iceberg for any interests out there. Video games, film, television, history, cartoons, anime, music, and even YouTube itself, god damn! There really is something for everybody. Unless you're into sports. Cause yeah, I couldn't find a single one. So I guess this whole thing really is just for us greasy virgin gamer weebs in the end of the day. But with all these videos coming out, one may wonder, where exactly did it
fuck, get to the iceberg already, Jesus Christ!
Okay, I guess I'll address this first. This isn't going to be structured like your run-of-the-mill iceberg video. Instead, I'll be taking a step back and looking at this fad as a whole and give my own insights and opinions. And now that 99% of you clicked off, I'll begin the video now. Despite its recent popularity, this whole thing actually started back in the summer of 2020 with the Super Mario 64 Iceberg Explained, the first of many. And it's a good video, I recommend watching it if you haven't. It set up the idea and structure that every future iceberg would follow, and it's a brilliant structure, you know? If it ain't broke, don't fix. Now, if you haven't seen an iceberg video, then why are you watching this video? Unless you like me? But if you haven't seen one, here's the basic structure. You take a medium, whether it's specific like a singular video game or a broad subject like film. Then you throw that bitch in an iceberg and talk about facts or trivia or theories where you gradually get darker and more obscure the further down you go. First, you got the surface. This is what I like to call normie tier, you know? Your coworker in the cubicle over will probably know some of this stuff, like L is real 2401. This first part is very basic and pretty much well-known information. The next part down is the nerd tier. Only nerds are really gonna know this shit. This tier consists of relatively obscure facts that maybe some normal Joes out there will know, but more than likely not. Now below that is what I call the turbo virgin tier. Anyone who has had at least 1 ounce of pussy in their life is not gonna know any of this shit. However, this is when things get kind of dark. This is when theories start getting thrown into the mix. Things go down more and more, and things become more theory-based, and things get darker and darker, and blah blah blah. You get it. I'm not trying to make this whole video an explanation on how these icebergs are structured, but there's something to them. They inherently draw you into clicking on them. Like, I'll give you an example. I like to proclaim myself as an Earthbound fan. That little factoid is first on every and any job application I fill out after all. So when I see this Earthbound iceberg, I kind of want to watch it and see how deep I go before not knowing anything. But even then, the structure is great for retaining viewer attention. Things start out lighthearted and slowly get more sinister. Can't stop watching now because I gotta see what's at the bottom. How dark does this get? Because of that, it's easy to see why these videos are so popular and why there's so many of them. Because at the end of the day, the iceberg is just a convenient framing device that makes structuring videos very easy and engaging to watch. And I'm not knocking it. If it works, it works. But there is a problem, and it's a problem that faces any big fad, and that's the lack of quality. You know, any schmuck can hop on this trend and make a complete dog-ass video. Now, I'm not gonna single anyone out. Far be it from me, a complete nobody on this platform, to call someone bigger than me out. But time and time again, I'll throw on one of these videos and get hit with complete bullshit. And even the quote-unquote good videos have problems. A lot of these icebergs just kind of end in shitty creepypasta territory by the end, specifically the video game ones. And this is where the structure kind of hinders the videos because they start off with cold hard facts, going over information that is regarded as public knowledge, only to end with these stupid fucking creepypastas that rival edgy 7th grader journal entries. Also, there's a lot of overlap, like a lot of iceberg videos covering the same subject and whatnot. Now, I can sit here and bitch and moan like a pussy, or I can give my own insight on what can be done to improve the overall quality. And I really think it just comes down to one thing, and that's restraint. These videos have a reputation for being long, and I feel like when people set out to make these videos, they feel like they have an obligation to hit a certain time quota. You know, half an hour or an hour plus, or it doesn't count. But that's simply not the case. I mean, don't stretch anything, don't force anything. If you only got 20 minutes of talking material, then only make a 20-minute video. If the Abyss section only has 1 or 2 things to talk about, then only talk about those things, and don't go throwing any old creepypasta or crackpot theory in there to punch it up. I'd rather watch a shorter video with more grounded and dark theory based information than a long video with completely unbelievable bullshit. And maybe that's just me though, but some of these videos really do feel like creepypasta showcases with a fun trivia primer. But in the end, this shit don't matter. And on the bright side, this fad is getting more people to make videos, which I'm always for. As a person who views video making in any way, shape, or form in its own right is an art. Except if you make Reddit text-to-speech videos. If you make those videos, fuck you.